Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm Jim Tabor, your host, along with Dr. Jim and Janine Fox from Doctor's Nutrition, located on Callan Raidwell in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. We do this every Monday morning. It is a live call-in show. What we do is we have a topic which we talk about, and we invite you to call in and ask any questions regarding that topic or anything regarding your health, because this show, that's what it's all about, trying to help you live a healthier lifestyle. Our phone lines are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. You just call in, pass your question along to our producer, and they'll pass it along to us. Well, June is National Brain Awareness Month.
Yep.
And if you're watching this show, you've got a brain.
Right, that's true. Step one.
So anyway, so we're going to be talking this morning about keeping that brain healthy the best that you can as you age, because it starts to kind of wane a little bit.
Yeah, it does. You know, it's kind of interesting that over time our brain actually does get a little bit less. We start not using it quite as much. And it's just the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. Happens with the brain too. So one of the biggest things to do with the brain is exercise it. Puzzles are great. My mom, sharp as a tack when she died.
She was.
And her favorite thing was these monster puzzles. I'm talking about, I'd look at it and say, oh geez, forget it, you know. And she'd put one of those things together. It might take her weeks, you know, but she'd put those things together. So she worked on stuff like that all the time, working that brain. Great stuff to do for the brain. And that's probably the step one as we age. Use your brain.
Make sure you use it.
Use it or lose it. That's kind of the big things.
Well, everybody's got one of these. You're usually sitting there looking on it. There's a lot of great little games that you can actually load online that, I've got, like Wordscapes that I have on mine, and, just some words with friends. And they do make you think. So, they're great little opportunities there. If you're to where, if you're out somewhere or whatever, you got a little time, sit there and play one of those games.
Or if you are older, and a lot of people don't do as much of the phone stuff, if they are, just go get some of those puzzle books. There's puzzle books. There, like he said, put
Word
together
search.
Puzzles. I mean,
anything.
There's all crossword puzzles. There's all kind of things that you can do. And really even some of the kids' games are actually really good. Like like the Simon Says stuff, where you actually, it lights up and then you got to do it in the order that it just did it.
Yes,
or else. So some of the kids' things are great for memory.
Well, they design
really
them.
are.
There's a place, Fat Brains is a There's a place that you can buy games for little kids, and we buy them for a lot of the little kids in the family and the extended family and so on. And they're great because, like she said, it's for child development. But let's face it, even when we get older, we still got to develop these things. We got to keep them moving, So
I really like those ones with the lights, and then you have to still do it, and then you can make it harder and harder, where there's 10 things in a row, and you got to remember which color went in what order. So that's actually, it is. It's actually, it's not that it's that easy. And the ones that's putting a round thing and a round thing, that ain't probably enough.
No.
But those ones that have the flashing lights and you have to remember all the sequencing and the order, that is actually really good for the brain. People don't think about that, but so even look at some of the things like that when it comes to brain.
Yeah. One of the most important things about our brain really is feeding it. And if you noticed, America went on a low-fat diet back in 1974. The government said, and we have to pay attention to the government, and the government said low fat or no fat. And since then, we can see just the direct correlation. The chart just goes straight up with the amount of dementia and Alzheimer's. It's exploded, and it's because people aren't getting fat. Our brain, 60% of your brain is fat.
And actually, you want good fat.
You want good fat.
Not necessarily going out and eating all the fried foods you want is the way to do it, because most of the oil that they cook fried foods in is not what you want.
No.
But you want to get a lot of the good fat. You want to get, eat avocados and actually get, and even some of the animal fats have been really beneficial to the brain if you get organic grass-fed, where the fat contains what it's supposed to contain.
Right.
The bad thing is a lot of the way that they actually raise animals nowadays gets rid of some of the beneficial things like CLA and from the actual fat. And so it does make a difference what you eat and the quality of the food that you eat. So that does make a difference. So you want to get your good fat, and then you also want to do your bright colored fruits and vegetables. And that actually gives you a lot of antioxidants.
Yeah, and I think something that, and of course everybody says, and she just said it, fruits and vegetables. We need to turn that around.
Vegetables
and fruits, okay? Because people tend to, I get them all the time, and of course they've got blood sugar issues and some other things that are going on. And they say, well, I eat a lot of fruit. Not a good idea.
You don't want all the sweet fruit.
No.
Now, if the berries are probably your better choice because they're lower.
Yeah, blueberries are in season right now.
Yeah,
so.
They are.
They're lower on the glycemic index, and so the berries are better than some of the other fruit that has higher sugar. So you do want to look at that, and if you have a sugar problem, you got to be careful even with that and just eat a few at a time.
Yeah.
But vegetables.
Yeah.
And actually, your fruit that is. Avocados are a fruit. They have a seed. Squash is a fruit. Tomatoes are a fruit. All that has benefits.
How about a red or a yellow bell pepper?
Yep,
Great.
that's another good one.
Because
I love to cook. I do a dish. It's a Mediterranean pasta.
Yeah.
Right.
But I cooked for y'all one time.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's
I
right. Yeah,
came over there, cooked out on the outside grill.
But definitely all
with
your
the colors.
bright colors is actually,
the colored vegetation is extremely good, because that's where, if you look at things like resveratrol that you've heard us talk about, some of those things. If you look back on them, where did they find them? In the red stuff, or in the purple stuff, or in the colors. That's where they found it. Actually, I think they first found some of it in the red skin that goes around peanuts.
Yeah.
Okay. And they just discovered that that has some compounds in it, the pycnogenols, it has the resveratrol, so it's very protective for the plant. It's very, very good for us too. So that's why we want a lot of color, like you said. And the Mediterranean diet, by the way, is probably the best diet. True Mediterranean diet is probably the best diet for the brain. Actually,
and like I said, it does have a lot of olive oil, and it has, the oils are actually beneficial.
Yeah.
And DHA is part of fish oil.
Right.
And it is one of the most important things for the brain. We even have a DHA only fish oil.
Right.
Whereas somebody wanting high amounts just for the brain, we do have that. So there's a lot of things, like I said, there's so many things you can do. And then when we talk about what's good for the brain, the one thing you want to avoid is sugar. Sugar is horrible for the brain. They're even calling some of the dementias and stuff like that type 3 diabetes, even if you're not diabetic, because they say the way the sugar damages the brain. So that does miss it. It's also what not to eat.
Wow.
Yeah, what to eat and what not to eat.
What not to eat, exactly.
896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open. We're talking about brain health today, or if you have questions about anything regarding your health, pick up the phone and give us a call. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back. And welcome back. Our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Our phone lines are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. If you have a question regarding brain health or anything regarding your health, if you have any issues or you know someone that does, pick up the phone and give us a call. Imagine this heat affecting our brains.
Oh, it's just definitely hydration. Actually,
yes,
hydration is good for the brain. So you definitely want to stay hydrated, and you definitely have to keep your minerals up. So that does make a difference in brain function. Now, another thing that people will be glad to hear, a couple things that you can actually eat and drink that are just really good for the brain. One is dark chocolate. There is a lot of research on the cocoa extract.
There really is.
And there is, but again, I say dark because you don't want all the sugar. Now you want everybody always says, well, what percentage? I'd say probably 70%.
The books, all the literature says 70 or better.
Or better, right. Now you get 90 something, but it gets a little bitter.
It's much bitter.
It's a little bitter at that point. And we do have a supplement that actually has the cocoa extract, which is our memory core. And so it does have a cocoa extract in it for brain health. Now the other one that everybody kind of likes is well, actually it's coffee or caffeine. Actually, caffeine is what in coffee is really good for the brain.
And tea. I mean, tea's got a little bit of caffeine too.
But you don't want excessive amounts. No. Like I said, a small amount is actually really good for the brain. And so when you start looking at all the research on nootropics, that is actually, when you hear the word nootropics, it's kind of weird to say.
It's N-O-O.
Yeah, Nootropics, I think. It is things that are good for the brain. That's what they mean. And so in the research of that, there's quite a few things that have been shown to be very beneficial for brain health. Now, one of the big ones that everybody agrees on is something called acetyl-L-Carnitine.
Yep.
And a lot of people say, well, I hadn't heard that. Well, L-carnitine is an amino acid. Acetyl is a different form that is definitely more specific for brain health. And it's also good for muscles. It's good for so many different things, for energy, safe for just about anybody to
I know
take.
y'all have recommended the L-carnitine for people who work out.
Yeah, well, it's good for
muscle.
muscle.
It's
Yeah,
good for so
Good for
many
their
things.
muscle
Yeah.
recovery.
right.
It's
And
really
so
good.
carnitine is one of those there's everybody kind of agrees on quite a few of them. Phosphatidylserine, very good nutrient for the brain.
And if you eat a lot of these foods that we're talking about,
Yeah.
these brightly colored foods, you're getting a lot of these nutrients.
A few, yeah.
A few. I mean, not everything,
A
but
little
a
bit.
few.
And then the CDP choline is one that I don't care what list you look at, when they say for brain health, that is one that everybody again agrees on. And then there's the ones that have been out there forever. Gingko Biloba. It does help. It increases increases the flow to the brain. It increases blood flow. Does make a difference. The thing with Gingko is you can't take it if you're on blood thinners. That's one of the downsides of Gingko.
It does thin
A lot of your older people are on blood thinners. And so Gingko is a pretty strong blood thinner, and so you don't want that with blood thinners. A lot of these other ones we're talking about, you can take it with blood thinners. It is perfectly safe, perfectly fine. Even the CDP that I just mentioned, it's good for blood pressure. It actually lowers blood pressure.
Yeah, it very does.
So, it's even been used in some of the kids because with memory. A lot of these things can be used for memory at any age. And a lot of the things that are good for the brain are also good for attention deficit. It's not just about memory loss. So it's more about just making the brain healthier, whether it is a kid or whether it is an adult. And one of the things that we've used in kids a lot is L-theanine. Theanine has so many benefits.
Yeah, it really is probably one. A lot of people come in and they, especially lately, and they've been coming in and saying, well, what have you got for anxiety? And if they say, well, is it mild or severe? And they'll use mild or moderate. Okay, fine. First thing I'm going to tell them to do, theanine.
Yeah, theanine is so safe. It can pretty much be taken with any medication. They've never found a toxic dose on it. We give it to little bitty kids. We give it to old people no matter what drugs they're on.
Right.
I mean, it's like the good thing, theanine is just so safe.
Yeah.
It is such a safe
really
thing, and it actually changes the brain waves. So it doesn't work the same way as a lot of the things. It works more on brain waves. Now, naturally, where do you get theanine? In green tea. So yes, green tea is good to drink. Again, you'd have to drink it like hundreds of cups to get what you get in the capsules. So you don't get near as much, but that makes a big difference. And for brain health, getting good sleep makes a giant difference.
Huge.
Oh yeah, I mean
And
that
so
goes with anything.
a lot of people that take theanine, it helps lower the stress hormone cortisol, and it actually does make people sleep better. Because the stress hormone cortisol, you'd say, is the opposite of beneficial to the brain. It's
Pretty much
terrible for the brain.
Yep.
So there's so many things out there. I mean, we have, there's.
You always start with your basics.
Yep.
Like one of the basic things we do on pretty much every panel that we've got that we do on folks, and it's B12.
Oh yeah.
And B12, everybody's, they'll come in and their B12 might be in range, but it's on the low end of the range. And I always say, well, you need a little bit more B12 than that. And they look at you like, it's in range. Yeah, and the University of California at San Francisco, now they've studied brains for years. They've done imaging studies. They've mapped and charted people for years and years and years and years. So they've got a lot of what we call longitudinal data they've been collecting for like decades. And they've shown that the people who keep that B12 at the higher status actually have less brain shrinkage as we age. And we know it's going to happen. So we want to try to prevent the shrinkage.
And all the B vitamins
all the B vitamins for that matter.
Play a role in brain health.
Choline's actually in that family.
Right, exactly. So the
CDP
CDP is in the choline family, but even if you don't have enough, B1 makes a difference, B6 makes a difference. Folic acid, just as big as B12.
Folate is huge.
Yeah, it actually, you want folate, you don't want folic acid because of the form, but it makes a big difference in neurological health, what's neurological? The brain.
Right.
So we always say start with the blood work and fix what's there before you just start taking a bunch of stuff on top of it. Because if you have a thyroid issue, you're going to have memory problems. If you have an iron deficiency, you're going to have memory problems. If you have B12 or folate deficiency, you're going to have memory problems. So there's so many things that affect memory that you have to fix the underlying problems first Now, once those are fixed, then you start looking at, okay, what else can help me? What else can I add? What do I, do I have anxiety? Bacopa, there's a herb that's called Bacopa that has been really shown to actually help with short and long-term memory.
Right.
So there's so many different things you can do for the brain. So many.
Wow.
I mean, that's one thing that, we have formulas that have, like I said, we have our Memory Core, we have Memory Pro, we have formulas that have a lot of these things in them. Mm-hmm. And then we have every single thing we've mentioned separately. Because when people want to take high doses of one specific nutrient, we have all those separately as well.
All right.
Yeah.
896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We're talking about brain health today. And it is National Brain Health Awareness Month. We will be right back with our final segment and this week's special. And welcome back. It's our final segment of this morning's show, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We're talking about your brain and your brain health, as it is Brain Health Awareness Month here for the month of June. Let's go ahead and take a look at what our special of the week is.
Deal of the week,
that's a good deal.
It is. Yeah, this is the CDP choline that we talked about. It's kind of a specific kind of choline, but it's been, the research on it in the brain health is just remarkable. It truly is. And so that's the one we decided to put on, because it's one that people can try, and there's not many what you call magic drugs out there that just work. But CDP choline, if everything else is cooking along pretty good, it's going to really help.
Yeah, I see people, they say it takes, within a couple of weeks, people can see a difference. Mm-hmm. So it's not one that necessarily has to be taken for months before you can see anything. So I do have a lot of people that can tell a difference when they're taking it. Mm-hmm. And it's one that, like I said, it helps blood pressure too. So it's not something that you have to worry about if you have high blood pressure. It's one that maybe if you have low blood pressure, you got to watch it, but you can still, I have low blood pressure and I do take it for preventative reasons. Yeah. But it's something that, you want to look at doing something. If you're starting to have memory issues, don't wait until you are too far gone, because memory is one of those things that once you do hit that point, it's hard to reverse a lot of the damage that's done to the neurons in the brain. Now, there's no doubt, there's some research that the nutrients can help, but prevention is always better.
There's no doubt that when you talk about the brain, prevention is the key. There's no magic bullet. So if you're starting to have that problem, jump on it quick and jump on it early.
Can younger people have issues?
Oh, well, think about it. There's kids that have memory problems.
Yeah.
I mean, even the,
Sure.
Yeah, it makes a big difference any age. The brain can be affected by things at any age. Yeah. And so that's why you want to protect the brain. And like I said, there's a lot of things, if you start having those problems, because we actually have young people that come in and say, I just can't remember anything. And like I said, first thing is to do lab work. Make sure there's not something going on there. Because a lot of times it is, especially if you're really young, there's probably something going on, a nutrient.
Quite possible.
That makes a difference in it. So that's the first step, do the lab work. Always make sure you eat right. Stay away from sugar. Exercise. They've definitely linked exercise with better brain health of any age.
Well, it increases blood flow.
Yep, it increases blood flow to the brain. So that's good for kids. And how many kids don't actually exercise now? There's a lot. They stay on the video games, stay on their phones, and they don't get outside and exercise. So I think that's going to be detrimental to people's brains as they age. And then one of the supplements that, to me, fish oil is one of the things we talk about a lot, and it has the DHA, but it is so beneficial for overall health, and it's essential for so many things in the body. Yeah. So fix all your underlying problems, probably take fish oil, probably just about everybody probably needs that.
Oh yeah.
And then start looking for specifics if it's not enough. And so like I said, there's things that you can do, and don't wait till it gets too bad. That's the big thing.
I think that's the key is getting started early. Even if you think, well, gee, I don't have a problem. Okay, now's a good time to start. I mean, if you can prevent something from happening, because I promise you, there's no magic bullet once you reach a certain point. Yeah. It's not going to.
And actually, a lot of the nutrients we talked about, the CDP, whether it be that or the phosphatidylserine or the B vitamins, all of it works on attention deficit too. Right. And if you start looking, how many kids today have attention deficit?
Theanine's big.
And theanine's huge for that, because it actually makes you focus but not tired. So it actually helps you focus, and it calms you down, so you don't not so scattered. So there's so many things that you can do.
All right, we got a question. I get a lot of muscle cramps in my hands and legs while sleeping. My doctor put me on vitamin D3 and magnesium. I've been taking that for 3 years and I still get these cramps. I also drink plenty of water. What else can I do?
Well, it's obviously not magnesium.
Well, no, it could be.
Possible.
Actually, we have it's a liquid mineral, and it does have magnesium, but everything it's kind of a different supplement.
Yeah, it's got more than just magnesium.
It is. It's got more than magnesium. It's actually a mineral supplement, but it has helped cramping when nobody taking just regular minerals have.
Right.
Now, it does not taste very good, but you can dilute it with something and drink it because it is in a liquid. But it definitely has worked on muscle cramping when just the minerals alone have not.
It's true.
And it comes from a lake.
Somewhere.
It's basically a lake water, and they concentrate it somehow, and it does not taste good, but it works.
It does work. It
does work.
Chase it with a shot of whiskey, it'll be fine.
There you go. Because I mean, it really doesn't.
It does not taste good, but it definitely works for cramping. Now, we'll try our multi-mineral first, but if that don't do it, this liquid mineral does make a big difference.
And it's possible, yeah. Now, the D3 is good for a lot of other things, too. But no doubt about it, I've always had a problem with cramping, especially
at night.
Especially in the summertime. It's like yesterday. It's a little warm,
A little bit.
A little bit, right. So you're outside and you sweat a lot, or glisten, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, when you do that, you're losing a lot of your minerals. And I started taking this stuff, the non-tasty good stuff, quite a while back. And I noticed that in the middle of the night, especially, I would wake up with cramps, especially in the legs and so on, and hands. I haven't had that. I mean, seriously.
It completely stopped
it.
And we've had other people that it's helped as well. So it definitely
works.
It works. And he had taken everything out there and every mineral, and that stuff has made a big difference.
And they do show that those minerals are so good for the brain as well.
It is.
So.
Well, if you're mineral deficient in any way, I mean, magnesium's good for everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's about getting magnesium into the cell. And I think that might be part of it, is that this type of magnesium, which is a little bit different, actually gets into the cells better.
And it has some other minerals too. It's not
does.
just magnesium. It's got a lot of other minerals in it too.
It does.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And one of them is really good for the brain, lithium.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, lithium is one of the things listed in this, that it's a good amount of lithium in this liquid too. And lithium has so much research for brain health. That's another thing I do preventatively, is I take a low dose, and that's low dose lithium. We're not talking about the extreme dose and what they use for medication. We're talking about naturally occurring lithium. So
everybody would call it a trace element.
Right, a trace element, and so it's also in there. But lithium's great for the brain.
It really is.
All right. Kind of recap, as far as exercising your brain, find some things that you can do to exercise your brains. Little games or things that work your mind are a good thing to do, and it's a good way to pass the time, and you're doing yourself a benefit there as well.
And just exercise in general, because you're getting the blood flow to the brain, which is always a good thing. So eat right. Sounds simple. Just change your diet a little bit, getting rid of that sugar, getting more of the good colored stuff in the veggies and stuff. Yeah.
And speaking of eating right and your gut and everything, it kind of plays into what we're going to do next week.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how gut health and how it affects the brain as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here with us again this morning. We'll be back here again next Monday morning at 9 o'clock with another edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Have yourself a wonderful day, and hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.